Today, I'm back with another mega ranking physical media list for you all. Today, I'm ranking my top 10 worst 4Ks of the year so far because we're at the midpoint here. And wow, why did I pick up these stinkers in ultra high definition? Let me walk through my train of thoughts. So first up, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And you might ask, Mega Mike the Movie Man, are you out of your mind? How'd you put a superhero title on this list? Well, I'm going to give you my reasons right here. Even though this is a really cool looking steelbook, I will give them that. Well, it's just not one of the best Marvel movies of all time. In terms of MCU lists, I'd probably put it mid-tier at best. Yeah, I like King the Conqueror with Jonathan Majors' character, but I don't even think that's going to go anywhere because things are just falling around the world. I mean, it's just falling apart, people. So, that's not the only reason. Also, we don't have many special features or featurettes on this at all. You know, Marvel likes to do those little 5-minute or 10-minute ones. There's only a couple here. I wish we got more to really dive into this movie. And yeah, so overall, you don't get a whole lot here besides a cool looking steelbook, and the price was outrageous. I think this one was close to 40 bucks, that new Marvel steelbook Disney BS price. Yeah, so because of that price, it just made me angry. So that's why it gets number 10 on this list. Alright, next up here, we got a double feature. Ooh, look at this. We got Slumber Party Massacre and Slumber Party Massacre 2. So you may ask why this one is here as well. Because Slumber Party Massacre isn't that bad of a movie. I actually was entertained by it. Yeah, it's kind of silly with the person going around with a drill to a slumber party. I get it, but it has its charms, you know, kind of that 80 cheese vibe, which I totally love for a horror movie. So, you know what? Slumber Party Massacre was decent enough. But I will say, I really don't like Slumber Party Massacre 2. I mean, you got this bizarre Elvis character going around. I mean, drilling people with a guitar. I mean, what is that right there? Even though it's a cool looking prop, it just becomes way too much of what? A horror comedy musical? I don't know what it's trying to do. It's not very scary. It's not very funny. It's just not very entertaining. And it's just confusing. It just feels like a fever dream of a parody of Slumber Party Massacre. So because I really don't like number 2, I had to definitely bring it down on this list. And not only that, this is a Scream Factory title. Should be a collector's edition treatment, but no. We got no slipcover with this one, and it was still pretty expensive. So even though you get 2 movies, still, we could have improved this edition. So that's why it's low on the list here. Alright, next up, one that may cause some sadness for you all, is Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, look at this cover. That's pretty cool. That kind of enticed me right there. But I got so many divisive opinions on this title. Some people loved it. Some people despised it. So I had to try it out during the Criterion 50% off July sale. And yeah, wow. Okay, so this movie is kind of in 3 acts. I guess that makes sense. Triangle of Sadness. The first act is okay. Second act picks up quite a bit, and then I love the third act. You got great social commentary in there, so I enjoyed it overall. But if you try to compare it to another movie that's kind of similar with the social commentary, being The Menu is a lot better movie than this. I would rewatch The Menu a whole bunch more times. That's much more horror thriller, and so because that movie did it way better, I should have totally picked up The Menu instead of this 4K. So even at the discounted price, I mean, I feel so bad for anybody that got this at full price. Woo, that would have been a doozy. But even at the half price, really not much rewatchability here for me. Okay, one-time watch, but that's why I had to put it on this list once again. Alright, next up, we got The Firm. Yes, a Tom Cruise movie, which in terms of a quality film, it's actually pretty good. It's a suspense thriller. You're trying to wonder about the evilness of the firm and try to unveil all of its mysteries. So the movie has some intrigue to it, which I do like. It did captivate my attention for sure. I will say it's a little too long. Probably could cut it 15 to 30 minutes or so. So the movie is pretty good quality, but why is it on this list? Well, the slipcover is just okay, not great, not terrible, but not really much special features in this to really unpack the movie like I wanted it to have. Also, you know, the 4K on this is just underwhelming. Not terrible by any means, but it's not great. It doesn't really stand out. It doesn't pop, and you could have totally done a better treatment for this one. So, because probably most people would be content with the Blu-ray, I probably would have been good with a Blu-ray. Should have got that over this 4K. That's why this 4K is on the list, even though it's a decent movie. All right, next up. Okay, not sure if this is a decent movie here, but it has some fun. Rawhead Rex. Ooh, look at that cover. Now, in terms of covers, this might be the best out of the bunch. That just made me want to buy the movie. The title, I mean, Rawhead Rex, it sounds super fun. You know, it's going to be some kind of creature feature of sorts. The lightning in the background, I mean, it looks so terrifying. Wow, that looks really, really cool. Now, the movie ends up being a really low budget, schlocky horror movie, and the creature is not blue. I thought the creature was going to be blue because of this cover. No, it's like a, I don't know, like a really dark kind of color. It doesn't pop, let's just say that. So, because the designs in there, the effects are a little wonky-ish, it just doesn't make for like one of the best horror movies of all time. It's not one I would be pulling off the shelf a lot to rewatch over and over again. The special features were fine on this release, but it's a Kino Lorber title. It costs good boutique label money, but because it's just not my taste for rewatchability now, like I said, I had a good time one watch with this one, but because I can't keep going back to this one, and like I said, I felt like I overpaid, didn't get it during a Kino Lorber sale time, I will have to go this of one of the weaker 4Ks. Once again, these might be some of your favorite movies of all time, and that's great. I celebrate that. But for me, they ended up on the list because they were just missing that something in comparison to the price, which means lower value to me. That's how you get on this list. So speaking of this next one, which is Doom That Came to Gotham. It's a Batman movie, right? I always like to collect the DC animated movies. The Bat ones tend to be a little bit better than the others, but it is low budget animation. That means the animation isn't the greatest quality. It's no Into the Spider-Verse, let me tell you that. But the story overall is just not one that super intrigues me. The characters look way different in this one, just with the style they're going with. So when you see certain characters, like I think the Penguin character just looks super odd, more than usual. So it kind of catches you off guard. And even though I've watched this movie, I don't think I remember hardly anything from it. That is not a good sign. So that means the story just isn't as impactful as I would want it to be. Because again, the special features are okay here, but like I said, because this movie is so unmemorable, and once again, you know, you're still paying that 4K price for it, and the 100-year sticker logo, I don't really care for that either. But, anyways, cover's okay, nothing special, so that's why it made my list. But like I said, I like superhero titles. That one just underwhelmed me with the price. Speaking of underwhelming with the price here, Wanted from Shout Factory, right? This one, just like the Slumber Party Massacre set over there, didn't have no slipcover with it. I hate when they do that. It's a boutique label. Take pride in your work. Scream Factory, Shout Factory, slipcover all these 4Ks. People are paying good money for this one. I mean, what, did it come out near the $30 price range? That's pretty expensive not to get a slipcover here. And I actually don't think this one had much of any special features, if at all, from what I remembered. So that was underwhelming. In terms of the movie itself, it's okay for an action gun fu kind of style. You got Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy and decent talent in there. But like I said, I don't know. I've never loved this one. Stylistic, looks pretty interesting, but in terms of the story itself, I just really never felt connected to it. So once again, not an action movie I would want to rewatch a whole bunch of times. That's why, once again, it made my worst list here for 4Ks. Alright, next up. Ooh, this one I was so underwhelmed by, and a lot of people love this one. So if you loved it, I celebrate it. But Dog Soldiers, I know some of you horror fans out there are probably screaming at me. But this one is so low budget schlockiness. I mean, I'm like, what am I watching? What was the budget on this one? It just looks so like made for TV quality that people would forget about. But I guess people remember this one. I mean, the front cover even on this edition looks kind of weird though. I don't know, that design looks off to me. Like, what? Yeah. But anyway, this movie just wasn't that scary to me. It has some action elements in there, but once again, nothing too thrilling. Like I said, they're working in a certain kind of budget. None of the characters were really memorable. I don't even remember any actor's name in this one. This just was not the movie for me. I kind of started falling asleep quite a bit of times during it. And once again, we're paying that Scream Factory price. You're hoping you're going to get an amazing title, which for some people this is just not for me. Yeah, I gotta have more of a higher budget on this kind of horror movie. Next up, we got Bubba Hotel. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for listening this far. Well, this movie just isn't that great in my opinion. I know some people love it out there. It was having such a long hype line for this release. I'm like, I gotta get this one. Totally a blind buy. But how bad can it be? You got Bruce Campbell in there. I mean, it has to be good. No, very once again low budget kind of schlockiness. But not only that, at least Dog Soldiers tries to go for that action moments. This not much action. What the biggest action moment is him like squashing a bug or something. It's just not that entertaining. It's like a what? An Elvis that's an Elvis impersonator, but is a real Elvis, and something's all switched around. Now he's in a retirement home, and then he has to fight off a mummy, but the mummy fight doesn't even happen till the end, and it's a very slow fight and just drags and just that's really the big moments of the movie. It's like, what? What were they thinking when they made Bubba Hotep? Kind of sounds like a cool title, kind of a cool cover actually, but just isn't that great of a movie in my opinion. Once again, I know some people love this one, but I just thought it was once again pretty slow, pretty dull, nothing too special here. Just one and done. Probably maybe never will rewatch this one. I can't find myself picking this one over another title to be honest. So yeah, pretty disappointing. Now to get into my number one 4K, that's the worst of the year so far, and I don't even have the physical copy anymore because I already returned it. That's how disappointed I was in this release. And this is a Rocky collection. Yes, they only had Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course the director's cut of 4. So that was it. I was so disappointed. No Rocky 5, which I think is underrated. I quite enjoy that one. Some of the best Mickey moments ever. And then Rocky Balboa is just one of the top Rocky movies of all time. How do we not have these in a Rocky collection? That is just ridiculous. I think they are going to come with that in the future. So this was already an annoying buy to begin with that in mind. But then we had so many technical issues with these discs in terms of pitch levels, other aspect ratios here and there. And to me, the 4K didn't really pop a lot on these movies. The 4K was probably the best on the first one. The other ones, you couldn't tell as much. I mean, you could tell in some of the colorful boxing shorts and things of that nature, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, you could do really great work with some 4K restoration here. It just didn't pop as much as I wanted to. So, comparing it to the Blu-rays, I was pretty happy with the Blu-ray quality. Not much of a jump up with these 4 movies. And top it all off with the Rocky vs. Drago, that director's cut of Rocky 4, I think is an awful movie. It's the only Rocky and Creed movie I despise. The rest of the franchise I absolutely love. And Rocky 4 is actually my favorite of all time. But that director's cut I thought was garbage in my opinion. To me, I'm like, yeah, all the choices you're making here, Stallone, in terms of editing and cutting it back together are not the ones I would have made. The theatrical cut had it right. For example, Ivan Drago saying more lines that make him sound just like a bozo and less intimidating. You don't need Drago to say a lot. He shows up and he's ready to go. I mean, that's the terrifying monsterness of him. When he starts talking a lot, you're just like, oh yeah, it just loses it, right? It just loses steam. So really didn't like that movie. Like I said, disappointed. We only got the first 4 Rockies. You got the technical issues in there. And then I know it's probably a separate issue for me. One of my discs actually didn't play all the way through. Lots of pauses and just it wouldn't get going at a certain point. So had to return it at that point, but wasn't gonna get a replacement. I'm just gonna wait for 1 through 6 to come out properly in the future in a nice little franchise pack. So yes, that's why that Rocky collection makes my number one worst 4K of the year so far. So let me know in the comments below what were some of your least favorite 4K pickups of the year. And once again, I know opinions are going to differentiate wildly on this, and that's totally okay. I love seeing everybody's ranking list, even if it's different from my own. That's the whole fun of the comparison right here. So let's have fun movie conversations down below. And if you love collecting physical media just like me, make sure you subscribe right now. That way I can keep you entertained and up to date on all the latest physical media topics.
Is he talking to me?
He's talking to you.
Is he talking to me?
Let him talk. Make him talk.
And if you enjoy these physical media topics, check out another one right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters.